In 1980, IBM launched their first personal computer. And you can see from the ad here how IBM were really trying to muscle in on Apple's world. And Apple said, welcome, the more the merrier. But at the same time, Steve was thinking bigger. Steve was thinking, how can I take my leadership and go to the next step? But things were changing in Apple too, because Apple had now brought in a chief executive who was trying to run the business like a proper business. And Mike Scott felt that Steve was a disruptive force in the business, and so pushed him to one side. So instead of running the business and working on the key products, Steve was shunted off into the new ideas department. And he set up a team called the Mac team. And they put a flag on the top of their particular building at Apple's head office. And the Mac team did things differently. They were the parrots. They were the visionaries. They were people who wanted to create the future. And Steve said the Mac team were artists, scientists, teachers, historians. All those people brought something new. So the G of magic is go to unusual places. Bring unusual people together. Bring unusual ideas together. Read a different magazine every week, as he would say. Go and watch a movie you didn't want to watch. Go and look at things. Meet unusual people. So the idea of bringing together bashing together eclectic ideas to kickstart your brain. But they also said at that time they were having the best times of their lives. Working on this fabulous, ambitious new creation of the next generation computer was the best time for all those people in the Mac team. And on the early Macintoshes, you could look inside the case and you'd see all of their signatures. So they were intensely proud and they wanted to leave their mark. And that was something which Steve insisted, because he wanted the team to feel as though they'd achieved it. So whilst he is always grabbing the headlines, he also believed in the team at the same time. The best contribution which he made to a team, he said, was always saying no, which is quite different from somebody like Richard Branson, who'd always say yes. And what he said about teams more than anything else was that he only wanted the very, very best people. And many times in leadership in business, we settle for different levels and different capabilities of people. We have some A people, we have some B people, and maybe some C people. We try to make the C people into B people by coaching them. We try to listen to everybody's different points of view. But Steve wouldn't do that. He'd say bullshit. He says crap. He'd say you're not good enough. He'd fire you on the spot if you weren't an A person. And there's something in that, love it or hate it, because it's about getting the best people together. And getting the best people together, they don't have to have social niceties. They can start to actually really challenge people. And by challenging and pushing and being direct and blunt, they can sometimes move forwards much faster and in much more interesting ways. So that's part of the thinking different about leadership. At the same time, they explored new designs for what this new fantastic computer might look like. Steve he was now interested in Zen in particular. He went to Japan. He discovered the Sony designs, which he absolutely loved. And he came back, and with Frog, he started to create different possibilities as to what this design might look like. At the same time as they worked on this technology, they started to create all sorts of different gadgets which might be possible, like this handwriting telephone. But they were clear on their focus at the same time. They could have created 10 or 20 or 30 products out of the Mac team, but they only wanted to create one brilliant one. So at the same time as having A people, it was only having focus on the very, very best ideas and not getting distracted by those others.